My God, this is simply unbelievable. Pakistan has finally started to target the medical industry. Since the old pots, pans, and bowls in recent years can no longer meet Pakistan's demand for shoes, the discarded shoes and firecrackers from hospitals and clinics have been included in Pakistan's list of recycled resources. Let's go to this resource recycling workshop in Pakistan to see how they make discarded medicine firecrackers into high-quality travel stuffing that is convenient for thousands of households. Since medical waste needs to be handled by a qualified third party, it is not very practical for remote areas, so it is undoubtedly the best choice to hand it over to local small workshops for treatment at a low price. At the same time, the aluminum content in aluminum blisters accounts for about 20%. For this kind of raw material that basically does not require cost, it still has a relatively high economic value. The first step to deal with these waste blisters is, of course, to adopt the traditional fire processing method. The workers will pour it directly into the furnace, and then a lot of thick smoke will come out of the furnace. During this process, the plastic in the packaging material will be quickly ignited. At the same time, the remaining medicine in the packaging will emit a pungent smell with a high temperature. If you give everyone in front of the screen a taste at the lightest, the whole body will be fogged up, and at the same time, it will be black and white, and it will be elastic at night. Suddenly, when the furnace instantly ignites a raging fire, the real smelting will begin at this time. At the beginning, workers will use tools to dig out the packaging of the cannon to speed up the flow of oxygen and ensure that the plastic inside can be completely burned. Although this treatment method is not very environmentally friendly, the local development is relatively backward and can only take the road of development first and governance later. Soon after it was melted for 2.5 hours, leaf bow on the cannon had already completely melted into liquid donkey water. Then the workers will remove the impurities in the donkey water and use it. Use a large spoon to scoop out the donkey water and quickly inject it into the prepared mold. When the donkey water cools and solidifies in the mold for a while, you can turn the mold upside down while it is hot to demold it. Then you can get the same size of the mold. Finally, you need to move the mold to an open field nearby and wait for it to cool naturally. Then you can use a cart to move the mold to the processing workshop. The workers will first put the mold into a gas furnace for high temperature heating to increase the temperature, the softness and plasticity of the steel wire. But from the perspective of the throwing operation, if you accidentally hit your foot, wouldn't it be uncomfortable for 2.5 months? Then the worker will put the hot steel wire into the extruder and use the hydraulic rod to force the steel wire into the mold cavity. In this way, the steel wire can be squeezed into 2 standard diameter aluminum wires through the extrusion wood inside. Then the aluminum wire can be automatically collected on the wire reel by the automatic collection machine. However, the production of this aluminum wire has a relatively weak tensile strength, so it needs to be transferred to the next production workshop for drawing. Here, workers will first use a resistance welding machine to weld multiple rolls of aluminum wire into a continuous aluminum wire, and then put it into a wire drawing machine to draw the aluminum wire through the Wuhajun wire drawing and grinding holes. This can not only greatly improve the overall insertion accuracy of the aluminum wire, but also significantly improve the tensile strength of the aluminum wire. Next, you can make a hole on the surface of the aluminum wire. After wrapping it with a layer of insulating rubber, it is sold to rural areas so that every household can use cheap and high-quality female point line.